Hi dear friends, Annie here, and I brought you to my back garden, which is this beautiful mountain in the background, and actually I'm looking at the front garden. It's hard to know what's front and back really because I'm surrounded by mountains. So greetings to you today. And today I want to talk about a subject which I think is important for all of us, and that is how do we keep our mind and our brain bright? We tend to think as we get old it's a natural process of having a declining mental capacity, and I guess it's an inevitable process of the aging process. However, I think there's a possibility of slowing that down, and that's what I want to look at today. So 3 things I wanted to share. So number 1 is looking at the whole principle of hydration. And hydration for me happens in 2 ways for the brain, because this particular organ requires a lot of fluid. So getting enough water in your system every day is so important to keep your mind bright. And I therefore recommend a litre. If you can get at least a litre flask, fill it with warm or hot water, put in a slice of fresh ginger and drink that throughout your day. That means it keeps your digestive system going, one of your brains of course, and that will help keep your mind bright. You can also add a little bit of fennel as well if you like. The other side of it is of course not just the hydration aspect, but oils, because the brain is also 60% fat. So it also needs natural oils, which we can get in our foods with avocados, olives, some of the dairy cheese products or non-dairy derivatives or variations. And also it's about getting some of the omega 3, 6 and 9 in your system. Our body can't make that, so it's quite useful to have a supplement. I have some flax oil which I put in my salad dressing, and I also add to my vegetables to make sure my brain keeps moist and sweet. Hydration. The other thing I guess I wanted to look at is what are the foods that help create more of a challenge to the brain. And if there was one thing I would say, it's sugar, high amount of sugar. So I just want to remind you today to decrease your amount of sugar, because if we can't actually process too much sugar in our system. We can deal with glucose, but not the fructose part of it. And that will often then get converted back into internal fat, into visceral fat. So you want to kind of decrease the amount of that internal fat that lodges itself around the brain and around the organs. So decrease your sugar intake. And then thirdly, because there's a lot of yogis out there, I want to share a technique which you'll be very familiar with, and that is Kabbalabati. Now Kabbala means skull and Bati means bright, so it's the shining. So some of you all know this technique is called the shining skull. Great technique to keep your mind bright. And I want to share 3 different ways of doing it. As some of you know, I'm a Vedic consultant, and therefore there's different ways of doing this technique depending on your different doshic constitution. So if you're more kapha and feeling sluggish, then you can put a little bit of rhythm into this technique and make it quite dynamic and fast. If you're feeling pitta and your mind is agitated, you're critical, you're feeling angry, irritable, then slow it down and create a very gentle rhythm within the process. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, anxious, worried, your body's very tired, and you're feeling more vata, then just take your time and build a slow, gentle breath ratio into it. So we're going to have a go. So in case you hadn't remembered, I did have a little bit of a tissue. I haven't got it with me now. I know where I've got it. Some of you will know you may sometimes need to clear your nasal passages for this. So there you go. Clearing nasal passages. So if you're ready, let's start with just 10 breaths for a kapha. So I'm going to do the breath in a more dynamic way, and if you remember, the principle is it's a passive inhalation and a gentle forced exhalation coming right from the diaphragm. Key is keep your body upright, keep your shoulders still, and just get the diaphragm to do the work. So this is the Kabbalabati version to help kind of move any sluggishness in your brain. So breathing in, I'm going to start with an in-breath and then So that's the kapha approach. So as you can see, it's dynamic, and there's a round of 10, and then you can take an in-breath after 10 and repeat that another 4 times. And then just take your time. And after each 10, just take a breath and relax and then repeat. Now this is for the pitta. Again, I'm just going to do 10. So 10 gentle rhythmical breaths. And then take a stop. And again, you can do 3 of those in a rhythm of 10. And take a gentle in-breath between each one and an out-breath. So take your time. Then we come to the vata, so we really slow it down. And then take a gentle in-breath and out-breath, relax. And then you can just repeat that in 3 more cycles in your own time. And remember, if you get lightheaded, just stop at any moment. So that's the technique I wanted to share with you, Kabbalabati. Enjoy and let me know how you get on. Take care for now, dear friends.